Good morning to all of you. Again, wish Happy New Year and also deliver good projects. This is a lecture which I framed after so many travel across the country. I found some very small mistakes are being committed and their cumulative effect, their compounding effect is too much that we get a bad road. So, uh, next. Huh. This is a this is a sentence I framed in 1919. 2019 IRC had a seminar on concrete roads. And before that, I framed this sentence India paves concrete ways for prosperity. And I think everybody will like it. Then this is a sentence which is written on Highway Research Station Madras entrance. I went there in 1994 to deliver a lecture. This Highway Research Station Madras is in Guindy. And this was a beautiful sentence, so I copied. The search for truth is in one way hard and another way easy. For it is evident that no one can master it fully or miss it wholly. But each adds a little bit to our knowledge of, instead of nature, we can say roads. And from all the facts assembled, there arises a certain grandeur, bhavyata. So neither each one of us is expert, nor each one of us is that we do not know anything. It is a cumulative effect which makes a project deliverable. Okay. This is a concept I developed, how a project can be managed. You see, this is a theodolite. On the barrel is written project. And on the three legs, first leg is employer, that is in this case NHI. Then third is engineer, AE or IE, and in between is contractor. That means the contractor needs the support of both of them. All the three legs should be equally balanced. This is the art of a project director. How he can do all these things. Sometimes a policy of carrot and stick has to be applied. I mean, this is a contract management framework which I developed, the balanced tripod concept. So before my every lecture, this is there because all of us are concerned with management of the project. This I will skip. This is everybody knows. This is just a typical cross section, half of it of a concrete road. किनका था? ड्राइवर का. Okay. Now here it is. ये हट सकता बेटे ये वहाँ वो गड़बड़ कर रहा होगा. नहीं उनको तो नहीं दिखता. हाँ दिखता होगा. उनको ये नहीं दिखता उनको सब कुछ दिखता है. Okay, okay. See, construction of a CC pavement, it is construction sensitive. Utmost care has to be taken in the very beginning. Let me add a sentence from my guru, late Dr. Raymond Sharp from UK. He used to come for this first project, Delhi Mathura Road. He used to say, Mr. Jain, this concrete pavement is like a sophisticated English lady. If you will care for her in the beginning, she will serve you whole life. Otherwise, you will serve her whole life. Meaning thereby that there will be problems and problems. So, in the very beginning itself, we have to be very careful. I attended the Chicago conference. I was sent by IRC. I was co-convener of Rigid Pavement Committee. Mr. B.K. Sinha was the convener. Both of us were deputed to attend this LLCP, Long Life Concrete Pavement Chicago Conference, 25th to 27th of October, 2006. This is a sentence I picked up from one of the papers. Here, all of us people in the field are concerned. A well-constructed but poorly designed concrete pavement is better than a well-designed and poorly constructed pavement. This was from a paper. I have so many of them with me, and it is true. Now, respected delegates, let me see. We design good, we make good drawings, we put in our best. DPR gentleman also to his ability puts in his best. But the society gets what we translate at site. And that translation is in the form of delivery of a project. How good can we do? Self-praise is no recommendation, but I am happy to say that the first concrete road of India, which was built under my supervision, I was PD as well as engineer. That was a different format. The ministry had that. And 30 years have passed. It is still serving well. Life of concrete pavement in our country is 30 years. In Australia, 40 years. In USA, 40 years. In so many other countries, different. That means when half of it is damaged, life is over. चलो बेटा नहीं बेटा इससे पहले हो. This is the first lapse. Now, prior to that, I'll show you in another slide. Where do we falter? It will come in it. It will come. See, I have seen so many of the designer designs, say 300 thick. It should be built 310 because its life is 30 years and I have quoted those paras. The thickness has to be increased by 10 because we have to do 2 times retexturing and then grinding to rectify the faulting during the service life. What is faulting? Between the two slabs, there is a difference of level more than 4 or above. That is faulting in our country. In some countries, they take it 3 but when I wrote the specification, I decided to have 4 and that is okay. Now, you see any foreign photo, you will find that all the dowel bars, that all the bars in CRCP or in JPCP, the iron rods are coated with anti-corrosive coating. This is IS 1362. It is to be applied on each dowel bar and tie bar. The provision has been made by me in IRC 15, 2017. Believe me, nobody is complying to it. Nobody is making compliance of this requirement. Result is, see, we cannot prevent the entry of water through the joints or elsewhere. It will reach definitely these tie bars and also sometimes dowel bars. And you will find, if you see a photograph in IRC SP 83, you will find I have put in a photograph from a Bihar project of NHI. The dowel bars are all rusted, they are bent. ये क्या हो रहा है बेटा? ये टेलीफोन किसका है? Please stop it. So this is a failure. Very small, but results into big damage. We are using plasticizer when we are constructing the road to gain good workability. While on this subject, let me define what is the role of plasticizer. The role of plasticizer is to impart same type of charge, say positive, to each grain of cement. And when the two grains are charged with the same type, say positive, by process of mutual repulsion, we get good workability. Not by adding water, but by this. This is the plasticizer. Its density is about 1.8 to 1.2. Specific gravity. Whereas it is diluted in water, the density and specific gravity of water is 1. So we put it, and when we inject it in the concrete patching mixing plant, it is mostly water that goes. So what should we do? It should remain constantly in the agitated state so that it is always in suspension in the water. And I have seen at many places it is not being complied with. Secondly, it is added in the last batch when we give water. Supposing the requirement of water is, I am just supposing 176 liters for a batch. So 160 liter we mix normally, and in the next 16 liters we add this plasticizer, duly agitated, properly suspended, inject it, it will work wonderfully well. Secondly, now last point on this last dot. When Dr. Raymond Sharp and myself work together, he will not allow a batch to be discharged through the chute in the tipper before 1.5 minutes, say 90 seconds. The vendors will come to you. Oh, we can do this job in 15 seconds. Somebody will say 25 seconds. That is disastrous. I have a literature from US where it is written that if the batch is discharged too early, there will be many cracks. The incidence of cracks will increase. So when I was writing it, I called a few of them and told them, and we settled for 60 seconds. Now you go to any, it may be, I don't want to name any manufacturer's product, batching mixing plant. And mind it, this is the batching mixing, this is the mixing time, not the cycle time. The cycle time will be more. You load it, then water, blah, blah, blah. This is the mixing time, gentlemen. If we adhere to it, the product will be more, it will be better. The concrete will be better, definitely. Next. This I added purposely. Some of my friends will be working in hilly area. We call it ghat. This was a very serious problem with NHI, ministry. This Radi Ghat is NH 75, old NH 48. From kilometer 237 to kilometer 263. Mr. Oscar Fernandez, in the last government of UPA, was the minister in charge, and this road happened to be in his constituency. So he had 20 persons meeting. In second meeting, he virtually walked to me and with folded hands said, Jain Sahab, I have been told you can do something. Okay, sir, why not? Myself and Dr. Pandey, to cut the matter short, we visited the site and this road was produced. Now you see a big mobile tent. It had two functions. Will you believe one night we paved under the tent because we had very much time constraint. Only monsoon was given to us. Then, secondly, when you are constructing a road, the IRC 15 and other specifications provide that wind velocity should not be more than 15 km per hour. Wind is in the hands of God, not in our hand. So what do you do? Take canal, put it at about 5-10 meters away from on both sides, away from the paver. It will cut off the speed of the wind. And there will not be undesired cracks. I will show you when we proceed how that wind affects and how can we prevent it. So this tent has double purpose. During the sun, it prevents the sun rays to go direct to the surface of the pavement. Now there is a concept: don't pave under during the rainy season. This is a misconcept. It was till 2011. After the experience of this project, when we wrote this IRC 15, we removed it. I said we do pave during the rainy season, but not while it is actually raining. The advantage is that the relative humidity increases and the cracks are less. So this is a change which we have introduced in IRC 15 2007. Next. I want to spend 2-3 minutes here. Beta?
Compaction.
ठीक है. This word is compaction requirement. And let me tell you, whether it is flexible pavement or rigid pavement, non-compliance of it is doing the maximum harm in the country. You take Delhi Bombay road or any other road, kindly see this right hand relative compaction as percentage of maximum laboratory MDD as per IS 2720 part 8. Now come to one subgrade and earthwork and shoulders, not less than 97%. All our consultants religiously, they do not go beyond 97. It says not less than. It doesn't say, doesn't put a bar, do not go beyond that. This is where we engineers are failing. And this is the cause of settlement of concrete payments and flexible payments, to that matter, any sort of payment. Please, we should go to compactable density. Now, what is compactable density? This is the minimum requirement, sir. Do more passes of roller and go up to a stage when there is no further improvement in the density. It may be 98.5, it may be 98.6, it may be 99, it may be something. And when you actually do it, it may be 0.1 or 2.1 or 0.2 come. Say it may be 98.4, it may be 98.3. See, damage will be less. Now, how to convince ourselves? The two examples in this country, Delhi Mathura Road, old NS2 in Haryana portion, which was built under my supervision. First concrete pavement in the country with slip form paving technology. 30 years have passed, and PD, who was earlier PD here in Akshardham, he said, sir, it is behaving perfectly okay. Now, one problem with due regards to all NHI engineers, wherever they find problem in concrete roads, they cover it with bituminous. Now it has been stopped. Ministry has issued a circular that no concrete pavement should be, no concrete pavement should be covered with bituminous pavement unless until specifically so ordered. And this circular is recent. Why I am opening is this is 27th December. I hope each one of us got it. and it is written. I'll read part of it. It is being observed that premature distresses, failures manifested in rigid pavement during construction period, oblique defect liability period, oblique operation period is being treated with osmotic oblique quick fix bituminous surfacing, although different treatments for different kinds of defects in rigid pavement is specified in IRC SP 83. So this is a recent circular. I read it because all of you might not be in the knowledge of it. Whenever it is there, please do not do it. Now, mostly in Indo-Gangetic plain, these soils are C5 soils. They are likely to, when it is C5 soil, the settlement is time log. With passage of time, it will go on getting consolidated. When it is purely sand, it is 100% dry or 100% wet, the full density is achieved. Most of in real life, we are encountered with these C5 soils. Now, how to avoid it? In the new specification, which is under print, when we discussed, I told the DG sir, this has to be improved. Yes, he agreed. Just like DLC and PQC, we have introduced a provision that earth brought from a particular borough area should be compacted to the compactable density, not 97. It may be more. It will be more. So our damage will be minimized. If that is adhered to, most of these problems will disappear to a large extent. So this is one Delhi Mathura road where there is no settlement even after 30 years of performance. Second, in February this year, along with Dr. S.S. Pawar, my colleague, I inspected Jodhpur bypass. There it is nowhere less than 98.3 or 98.5 or 98.5. I visited their laboratory and found out from their record. Unfortunately, the man who is managing it is PhD in soil. He said, sir, when we can get more, why go to 97? It is only, it says not less than, it never says not more than. So I have spent about 5 minutes on this. Kindly stick to it and tell your A's and I's not to put the peg on 97% or 95% for a man. Okay, next. The main reason why concrete cracks. The main reason is improper mix design and jointing practice. Jointing practice, you delay it. It is related, the cracking is related to inherent character of concrete. It will crack when it changes volumetrically due to moisture and thermal effects. This lower sentence is from Dr. Raymond Sharp itself. The incidence of cracks can be minimized by improving the mix design and jointing practices with timely saw cutting and properly managed curing. This is as such. The lower portion, there is no reason a concrete road should not serve the whole design life if cared for earnestly from design to maintenance. So, till now, it is very much relevant that our mix design should be done properly, and most importantly, the cracks, the joints, when we are making the joints, we do the cutting, initial cutting, That should be timely. Otherwise, it is going to be troublesome situation. This is from IRC SP 83. While on the subject, let me tell you, I had 2 lessons from Dr. Dan G. Jolender, Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas. I was sent there through Federal Highway on the recommendation of Federal Highway. And he taught me all this. Then he was preparing some literature for Federal Highway. I requested, and in 2 months I got 2 CDs from them developed and then wrote this IRCSP 83, which is used so vitally in the country. Of course, I was not alone. There was a team in IRC, but I was heading that. This I have picked up from chapter 3 of this. There are 3 types of cracks which are prominent. Excessive drying shrinkage. How does it happen? We leave the pavement naked to sun rays and the water gets evaporated and this drying shrinkage happens. So this is one thing. See the mote dekhe, loss of subgrade sport. That means the disease we are suffering from, which I explained in the previous slide, subgrade and embankment are not compacted to the compactable density. Then vibratory trails caused by malfunctioning of improper adjustment of vibrators on the machine. इसको कह देना करेगा. हेलो. ये मीटिंग में है, 2-1:30 बजे बात करें. जी. Transverse cracks. Same, excessive because of evaporation of surface water from the concrete. Inadequate depth. The depth for transverse is 1/3 to 1/4 of the pavement thickness. Then late initial joint groove cutting, excessive joint spacing. The ratio between length and breadth should not be more than 1.5. For unreinforcement slab. Then misaligned, corroded, locked bars, dowel bars. I'll explain by figures. Crack at the end of dowel bar or locking of dowel bars. Defects, delays or interruptions of. इसको बंद कर दे, बिल्कुल बंद कर दे, वो स्लो उस पर लगा दे. Settlement, same, poor subgrade, subbase support. Diagonal cracks, they are also there, but not as much as this longitudinal cracks. Why do these longitudinal cracks happen? Poor subgrade. I'll tell you, when you go to this, I will show by pictures. Mostly in the wheel path and certainly in the slow lane, that is truck lane. Beside the shoulder joint, at a distance of 0.9 to 1.2 meters, that is in the wheel path, you will find a parallel crack. There are 2 reasons. The initial cut in the shoulder joint has been not up to 1/3 of the depth. It is less. Government of India constituted a committee, RK Jain committee, in which myself heading it, Mr. Vidur Kant Jha and Shri MC Venkatesa. On NS 12A in Chhattisgarh, we actually saw that the depth of the shoulder joint was nowhere even 1/4, not to talk of 1/3. And result was, it's a full report. Those who are interested, I can mail to Jain Saab, PK Jain Saab, he can circulate. Then faulting. What is faulting? Between the two slabs, either in the transverse direction or in the longitudinal direction, there is a settlement of one vis-a-vis the other 4 millimeter or more than that. That is faulting. This also happens due to this less compaction, or sometimes the tree roots also interfere. This I have lifted tipper. It is written 24. Actually, each tipper has 4 digits. Say Madhya Pradesh, this is difficult. When you do a job, give your own numbers. You can put a placard also. Tipper number 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. It is easy because you have to record the slump when the tipper starts and the slump when it is discharged in front of the paver. So many places this is not being adhered to. In fact, the gentleman at the supervision site does not know the importance of it. This tipper should move to and fro. You find a just see. The whole purpose of it is that it should not make a heap, because otherwise the higher particles will roll down and inbuilt segregation will happen. This was taught to us by Dr. Raymond Sharp and Mr. H.S. Mildenhall, both of them from England. I had the good fortune to work with them. At some places, there are situations you don't get space to move it to and fro. This happened with me in Siradigat and 75. What we did, I have two gentlemen, two workers with long gamboos, with spade. I made them stand in the tipper, and when the concrete will come, they will spread it. That's all. And you find that gentleman, that road was handed over in 2015. 9 years have passed, more than 9 years. It is perfectly behaving okay. We take the concrete without covering it with tarpaul. The moisture is lost, and the concrete in the upper layer is not the concrete which is in the lower layer of the truck. So this must be covered with tarpaulin. Very small requirement. DLC surface we must examine. This is from a project I don't want to name. It is not closed. What will happen? When you put polythene over it, the polythene will acquire the contours of this DLC, which is before us. It is not a closed surface. What do we do? I devised a very simple technique. I'll show in the next. Make 1:4 moist mortar, not flowing mortar, just moist. Say some 5-6% water. And you see, right hand half, this 1:4 moist mortar was broomed into the interstices. Right hand side, you see one pass of roller. Extreme left also one pass of roller. In between, the roller is yet to come. So this is it. Let us not forget, if the DLC is smooth, the concrete pavement will slide over it with the introduction of polythene, of course. In cyclic, this thing, in cyclic change of temperature and in daily change of temperature. Next. कितने स्लाइड हो गए?
बहुत कम होगा, 85 स्लाइड्स हैं।
नहीं हो कितने? नेक्स्ट
दिखाएगा बैक कवर।
या कोई बात नहीं। कच्चा coarse aggregate white dots used in DLC. The strength of DLC was found to be less. Now see these double bars. There are two very important observations. Double bar is cut out of a big long MS bar. Cut, tuck, 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 tuck. There is a machine outside. If you examine the end, which has been freshly cut, you will find burrs, very small iron particles. They will be protruding along the periphery. If you put your hand, it will be cut and will bleed. So, a grinding machine should be set up at side and these should be ground. I just want to know how many of us adhere to it. This is very simple precaution. And now see these dowel bars. This is here, two-thirds of it is covered, two-thirds. And in some bars, this sleeve is through, and both ends of the bar are visible. Not desirable. The end has to be closed, one end. But this is a real photo. There are so many bars in it, not as such visible, which do not have, which have the sleeve, it has slipped to inside. Both ends are naked. And no removal of bars. Burrs, B-U-R-R-S, burrs. Next. So what we do? This red cap, inside it is expansion cap with compressive sponge. It can be your, जिसका ड्राइंग बोर्ड हम लोग यूज करते थे इंजीनियरिंग में, वो लकड़ी कौन सी होती है? चील। उसका लकड़ी का हो सकता है, कॉर्क हो सकता है, आपका सिंथेटिक कोई और चीज हो सकती है. इट कैन बी योर, इसको क्या बोलते हैं बेटे? गत्ता सब कार्डबोर्ड. इट कैन बी ऑफ सॉफ्टवुड और इट कैन बी ऑफ फेविकोल. क्या होता है? थर्मोकोल. थर्मोकोल. You see kindly this red one. I have put it. This is 4 inches long and beyond, and then there is a playing space about 1 inch. Expansion cap with sponge at. Now people provide cap but do not provide this 4 inches, 1 inch this gap, clear gap. They just make it touch with the end. No. Now where the sheathing ends, this has been seen that slurry gets into the, slurry from the pavement gets into the body, it locks it, and this blue tape which I have put in is to indicate that this has to be taped. Next. Seating on a dowel bar should be tightly fit. Otherwise, it will create annular space around the bar, leading to concentration of stress load.
Okay.
Now, आगे दोबारा sorry, how does it happen? Supposing the seating is loose, this tube, the concrete will fall on the top surface and the annular space, whatever it is, will be disturbed. Along the bottom line, there may be a gap of about 1 to 2 millimeters. Where there is no concrete and there is concrete, but the surface of this tube is not is not tightly fit on the down bar. So in this cavity, there will be concentration of stresses and there will be crack. Next meter. When you see a chairman sir was saying that it was smooth, how does it happen? Very simple technique. You take a 3-meter strategy, which is now 4 meter. Half of it should be put on the previous day's concrete, and the second half on the approach slab, on the approach panel, which has just been finished by slip form paver. If there is too much difference in level, this can be corrected in the green concrete, in the nascent concrete. Once it hardens, we cannot do it.
Okay.
So this is it. I hope, and this will improve the riding quality. The road which was shown by Honorable Chairman Sir, near Dwarka in Gujarat, this had been ensured. And there was no tuck at the joint. Because transverse joints are only 8 to 10 mm. And when we were deciding the specifications of Delhi Mathura Road, we decided for 8 mm because the wheel will bridge over it easily, it will go and without knowing. Okay. This is the road on which Honorable Chairman Sir has travelled. Kindly see on the left hand side, this is my foot rule. There is a crack. Oh, I thought it is because of silt. I got sufficient quantity of aggregates, both coarse and fine washed. And this 30-meter stretch, I got built in my presence where my pencil is lying. There also it cracked. Although there was not a speck of dust in PQC. So what happened? This a crack developed, as seen near this pencil. I was told, I rushed again to the site and put water, poured water here. Believe me, he drank whole of the glass. It was doing इस तरह गाय का बच्चा पानी पीता है. I thought it is heat of hydration, they could not manage. So got the payment stopped and
ये नहीं है.
कौन सा ये वाला got the payment stopped and sprinkled this one. Kindly see. Fresh is being given mist. It was mist spray. Very fine nozzles. Sprayed it with it because it will not allow the internal water to be carried away by sun rays. This is done within 1.5 to 2 hours of laying. This is done just after or just at the terminal end of completion of initial setting time. This is it. This is incorrect way because it should not be held. It should not face the. It should not be, facing the concrete pavement. It should face the sky, just like this, because the water globules will break further and we will make a good mist. This was done in May 2018. See, it is giving a sort of cover also on the PQC. This is Smurdi Expressway from Bombay to Nagpur. On package 3, I think I was called. It is just before Corona. So we got a poker design. One gentleman in Pune, he designs poker. So I applied this technique there, and the report was that the cracks were reduced by 85 to 90%. Mr. Mayank was the PD, not he was PD of the contractor. This fogger is working. Just see, this is going on to the road. We do the curing by sprinkler. It saves water, and after 2 hours or 3 hours. But see, most of them, this is poorly covered. Let's see where cursor is there. This is a road leading to Hajo, old NS31, and this is beyond. You see, this crack is 0.9 to 0.92. This crack is mostly in the wheel path. This is beyond Hajo, old NS31. What is the reason for settlement? When you see along the shoulder side, it has settled, and shoulder joint has widened. What is the remedy? The immediate remedy is that grind the raised portion of the PQC. This will last for 5-6 years. Ultimately, we have to mill the existing concrete, and fix new make up the level by micro concreting. ठीक है. We mill the concrete on the shoulder side. How does it? It settles. What do? We do this bituminous concrete is not allowed. So you do a milling of about 15-20 mm, and then over that Then over that, we can do micro concreting of Foxrock or any other company. Next. Very small crack. It is known as not even minor crack, 0.2 to 0.5 millimeter. This is from Lucknow. This package was near Lucknow. Kindly give me a minute. I have to go to bathroom. इसको खोल कितने होंगे बेटा ये नहीं पता लग रही It's a small crack, 0.2 mm wide, 0.2 to 0.5 mm. These specifications say when there is a crack like this, you measure it, and if it is more than 3000 mm length, remove it. No, please don't do it. See the depth of the crack. And sometimes the A insists, no, remove it. Now, what is the reason? You kindly see the crack is on both the panels. It may be because the same batch of concrete has come in both the panels. The paneling is done later on when we do transverse cutting at 4.5 meter center to center. So sometimes I have seen they remove it and never get it correct. Beta, now this is from a LNT project near Balesar. This is also 0.2 to 0.5. The gentleman at the side said, I said, no, I was there in the DRB. No, this can be corrected. We just poured this flowing epoxy and poured some sand over it. It is okay. Still doing fine. This is it. It is near a sea. Sea is about maybe 5-6 kilometers. I don't know exactly. And all these cracks are perpendicular to the wind velocity, to the direction of the wind. I submitted in the beginning that wind velocity has to be brought under control. This was not done here. And mind it, near the sea, the wind is very fast. Its velocity is quite high. So had the gentleman put in two canards, two barriers to kill the wind velocity, this situation would not have arisen. Fortunately, these cracks were small. They were filled with flowing epoxy. And I had seen this road in 2005-6 and happened to travel on it in 2016 also. They are intact as such. They look ugly but have not penetrated. So this minor precaution could have avoided this ugly scene. This is near Dholakuma. So many people must have traveled near Dhola Kuha. You find some black, some panels were, black in color. Scaling had happened. They approached me. Since the advice was free, nobody attended to me. I got a gentleman from the store and got it done. It is 1:6. Epoxy sand mortar was spread. It has lasted more than 10 years. Very minor crack. Again, the I will say remove it. No. This is written by my own hand. And these holes are at 300 mm center to center. I poured the epoxy, flowing epoxy, waited for some time, again poured it. This is okay. So let us not be fussy about it, small cracks. In IRCS 83, that is why we have seen that up to this 2, there is a scale given 1 to 5. Do not do anything. Let them stay. Similar, these are 2 mm and this at a 300 mm part. People go on rejecting just for no reason. This is there. I got it done in my presence. This was a crack. Make a V and pour the epoxy. It will work. Let's see. I am doing it in my own hand. This is a serious problem. And being neglected by the field people because of lack of knowledge. With due regards with the AE. It happened with me also when I constructed this Delhi Mathura road in a length of 0.5 kilometer. Only construction traffic when it was turned, the sealant came out. As it is seen here, this is package 2, Kanpur. I was worried. So I brought a sandpaper 80 number, rubbed it, took out all the dust with the help of a bicycle pump, and then saw the instructions on the container, applied the curing, applied the priming coat, and then the period is half an hour to 1.5 hours, depending upon the temperature of ambient temperature. I poured this polysulfide. Polysulfide is in 2 grades, pouring grade and gun grade. We had the pouring grade. This is of Kanpur, NSDP Kanpur, package 2. And I told the contractor, why you do this? But as I said, no. Then when it came out, he said, sir, what do I do? Now open heart surgery, what can you do? Remove it. All were got removed and then sandpapered or sandblasted and then redone. I have put all this process in IRC 57 for the benefit of the profession. This is a partial depth just in the beginning of the crack. Late Dr. Sharp and myself, we are seeing it. A 4-inch deep parallel cut was made, debris were removed, the SSD condition was created, and cement concrete with 10 mm down, it was poured in it, properly cured. Till now, in 30 years, it is standing okay. From last 30 years. There was a place, this is, I think, Delhi Mathura Road, kilometer 49.331, I remember. When it was going to be opened, I saw this crack. I was worried. See, all your consultants will say, remove the whole panel. No. I preserved it in a width of 1 meter, broke it as it is shown in this, seen in this picture, made 2 lines, one outside, two, line 1 is deeper than 2 so that when you break it, the tuck 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 is not passed on to the parent concrete. And I prepared a, let's see, at 300 mm, these holes, epoxy, these tie bars, and another additional transverse joint was created. Ties and dowel bars assembly in position, concreted it, and textured it. 30 years gone, now we cannot know, do not know, cannot find out where it is. You see, 49 plus 331. So, because it is written that you remove, it is all that, no, please treat it. This is acceptable. What have we done? We have rather done a better job. This is Kanpur. Again, I was not there. Mr. Satyendra was there. The previous slab has mounted on the next slab by 4 inches. And this was, broken, removed, and then manually from the last about 20 years, it is okay. That is it. Kindly see this. It's very important picture. This is from one of the very important projects of India. Beautifully done this sprinkling of curing compound. But see, inadequate depth of tining. What will happen? Inadequate depth of tining. What will happen? After few years, this tining will be abraded. There will be aquaplaning or hydroplaning. What is it? A thin layer between the surface of the tire and surface of the road, thin layer of water. When you apply brake, skidding will be there and there will be there may be multiple accidents. In this specification, we have given the tine depth not less than 3 mm. But I can say with confidence, kindly gentlemen, when you go to site, measure the tining depth. Nowhere in the country you will find it 3 mm. I am saying it with authenticity because I have seen it on 50 projects. I am not blaming anybody. But the codal provision and provision of the specification must be adhered to. Otherwise, what for do we make them? Beautifully done road. But see, it is bound to have multiple accidents after 5-6 years. That is why late Dr. Pandey and myself, we provided in IRC 58 that whatever is the design thickness, you increase it by 10 mm, increase it by 10 mm so that we can do this tining in the hard concrete at least 2 times after 10-15 years and once after 20-25 years. This is the instrument with which the depth of tining is. How many of us have it at site? Kindly see. The adequate depth is 3 to 5 mm as per MORTS 602.9.11.1 and IRC 10 point something. I will not name the gentleman. He is a very respectable person, very respectable. क्या होगा भाई बैटरी लगा बैटरी बैटरी से लगा very respectable उसमें है बड़े उसमें very respectable person. I said भाई at many sites you can see it yourself. I am requesting the PDs. You ask your AE कि भाई मेरे को इसका tining depth दिखाओ. Invariably they will go in for sand patch method. Sand patch method, gentlemen, is for texturing, brush texturing, not for tining. Because there is sandpaper method is you take 25 grams of standard sand and spread it and take the diameter at 5 places. 31,000 divided by d square will give the depth of the texture. But nobody bothers. Unfortunate. Now, how many of us have seen it? This is the same instrument which the tire industry takes for measuring the depth of the goodies. Very important, very small, anywhere you go. I saw it and I got it done. These pins, these are about 5 inches long. So at a site I saw, I was not getting 3 millimeter depth. So I took a strip, iron strip or some 10 mm rod, both sides, tied it with winding wire. These pins were left about 1.5 inches. The lever arm was curtailed, they become stiff, and I got 4 mm. I again say, you any project you kindly show me where this arrangement is not there, you get even 2 mm. It may be quarter to 2, it may be sawa do also, it may be quarter past 2, but nowhere 3.5 mm or 4 mm. Why do we insist upon it? Because it avoids accident. It creates skid. It is anti-skid measure. When you apply brake, the vehicle stops. Otherwise, there are multiple accidents. Now see, curing. Half-heartedly done. This is not spread anywhere. What does it cost? Non-urine curing. If you do not do curing, the strength remains about 37%. And if you do this type of curing, it is from a project I will not name. Somewhere it is covered, somewhere it is not covered. We have heard of differential settlement. Here it is case of differential curing. Differential curing. Dowel bar misalignment. I call the gentleman from Germany, MIT scan. A beautiful instrument. It can tell you the position of dowel bar and also of tie bar. Tie bar is not important. Dowel bar is important. You see this. In 1 minute, it can do one joint. And on a project we show, the marking should be with red paint on both sides. At a project, it was only one side. I said, we do उधर दोबारा नहीं सब फीते से नाप लेंगे. And the difference was 90 mm, 90 mm. The dowel bar was not centrally placed. So this is the position. This is from a paper from Canada. When I got that, went into that LLCP conference, Long Life Concrete Pavements in Chicago, this paper was read from there itself. These dowel bars are blank, and this black is their shifted position. Side shift is there, sinking is there, vertical displacement is there. I got a phone from IIT Madras, one of my students, of course. Sir, if the dowel bar is, now if the slump is more, what will happen? I said, you take a dowel bar, it is 8 to 10 kilo. See it sinking. It is pushed mid depth. If it sinks and goes to bottom side, where is the load transfer? Your LTE will decrease, load transfer efficiency. That is why we keep the slump 20 to 30, at the most 35. If the slump is more, the dowel bar will sink. This is the position, horizontal misalignment from the same paper. Vertical misalignment, this rod has got itself lifted. Side shift, it should be 250 on each side. One side it is 113, other side it is something 337. How the load transfer will take place? When the wheel of the truck traverses from leave slab to approach slab. In the approach slab, the dowel bar length is only 113, whereas in the leave slab it is 237. How the load transfer will occur equally? No. So this is it. This is from paper from Canada, sir. This instrument, it tells you the exact position and you can match it with the telephone. Now improved version has come. Gentlemen, every fourth year I go to USA, go and read a paper. Now I was in Minnesota in August, along with Dr. S.S. Pawar, my colleague. We read our paper. And then the gentleman, Mr. Tom Burnham, he took us to MN Roads site, Minnesota roadside. There they conduct experiments. Different thicknesses, different configurations, two types of sensors, temperature sensor and load sensor inserted. There we also saw the improved version of this MIT scan. This is available in India with SI. There is a company in Hyderabad, SI International something. You tell them what is the size of your dowel bar and what is the diameter. They will calibrate the machine, do the job for you, and tell you so many bars are out and so many are within the tolerance limits. Tell me if anybody has done it. See if these dowel bars are misplaced as we saw in these pictures and photos recently, the load transfer will not be proper. When the load transfer is not proper, the pavement will also not be proper. Very small precaution. Please, this is a 11 SP project 6 near Gorakhpur. I was traveling, I sit always in the front. The water was oozing out in half of it. When I examine it, you see this, I have put in some this stick type of thing. This fellow was putting polysulfide in the longitudinal joint. This fellow was doing in the transverse joint. This fellow saw he will do it and this fellow said he will do it. It was left as such. This water was, after having traveled through the GSB and DLC, it was flowing like this. The only photograph perhaps in the whole of the world. Why it happened? Very small, because the median, I omitted that, the median, it rained and the median was filled with water. And this traveled like this. So never leave the median unearthed. Please put earth in it. And you know it is compacted to 85% Proctor density, not 97 or above. So this water will not accumulate in it and it will not cause this sort of problem. It was a Ashoka build project. When you see scoring compound, Normally, the side is not done. Here, this gentleman is doing it. And sometimes this side, this thing jet goes out of order. The easiest thing is take a bucket, put some curing compound in it, and take a painter's brush. When it has gone, brush it with it, because otherwise the moisture will escape from these small holes or interstices of the pavement. Very small, I will not name the project. This Asian cloth, I said, when do it? Oh sir, we are very essential. सुबह बांध देते हैं, शाम को उठाते हैं. We put it in place in the morning. This is doing no good. This is fully wet. The purpose of this Asian is to soak the bleeded water. What is bleeded water? Bleeding we heard in flexible pavement. Here bleeded water is when you mix plasticizer. The plasticizer dies after 1 year. Its water comes out. It will come on the surface. And if you see it with your fingers, it will be soapy. The purpose of this Asian cloth tied to this system is to soak, to absorb that bleeded water. If it remains wet, how will it do its function? No. So it has to be changed as soon as it becomes half wet. Wash it in a bucket of water. In the meantime, put another. So you should have 6-7 sets of it. Very simple, but not being practiced. There is no technique in it. There is no such formula. But unfortunate. It has to be changed as soon as it becomes wet. Another disaster happening in our country. You kindly see, this is a roll. I call it latence. It is not the same concrete which is manufactured in batching mixing plant and transported to site. No, it is not. It is a roll. I call it loosely latence. Although it is not latence, but the nearest word is. And see, these are the cavities. These are the forks which lift the dowel bar and put. And these cavities are getting filled with this latence. Gentlemen, this is not concrete. Some Indian engineers, they are trying to put concrete. Just see. They are filling these cavities with the nascent concrete collected from in front of the paver. But this fellow is in danger because behind it is this oscillating beam. Quite dangerous situation. They are trying to avoid. So seeing this, I sent this photograph with a note to Remedie, Germany. I said, in my country, your more than 500 pavers are working. Why don't you solve this problem? Because at every point after, say, whatever the spacing of this, maybe 300, 350 mm of these dowel bars, you get a cavity, and this cavity is filled not with concrete but with it, and is rendering the concrete weak. I was not satisfied with this. I took from this roll of latence, I took some 6-7 kilo, washed it thoroughly, put it in a kadai, dried it fully, found the gradation. The gradation of aggregate was fortunately within the Fuller's envelope. The scientist who developed this was Fuller. but very much on finer side. Two, the finer aggregates are not as strong as, concrete with finer aggregates is not as strong as that with properly designed aggregates. So, from this lattice again, prepared 3 cubes and 3 structural beams, cured them for 27 days, 28 days, made them assess the surface die, and measured the strength. Now see the next. You will be wonderstruck how much damage this is causing to us. Now see, these impressions are just after range. The present DG, Shri D. Sarangi ji, he was RO Bhubaneswar. He gave me a call, भाई साहब आ जाओ जरा हमारे इंजीनियर्स को यहाँ लेक्चर दे दो. I stayed on the way. There is a place Angul. Rain had happened, and when I went to the road next day, I found this situation. You see, after every double bar, you find these watermarks. Why? Because he does not have the same density as that of the, and the water has penetrated. This is like this. And this is weaker. Now, how do I say it? Just I described that I took 6-7 kilo of this, washed it, dried it. Compressive strength. It is supposed to be, it is M40 concrete. So it is supposed to be minimum 43 as per IS 2000, chapter 16, para 2. This is like this. So from this foot, and the strength of the cube in the lattice was 39.32. So I found it out. And this is the correct. I got the slide corrected yesterday. The loss of compressive strength was 8.77%, say 9%. Similarly, from the flexor beam, the loss was 9.92%. With passage of time, the inherent weakness of concrete around the dowel bar will lead to cracks at the dowel bar locations. This is happening. This has happened. How? See. Sorry, this in between Shirani Ghat has come. Very interesting. Those who are in south or who happen to go to this kilometer 237 to 263, this was the condition of the road. I got sentimental. One young couple with a small baby in their arms was trying to negotiate. There were all pebbles. They could not. So I called some persons and we pushed the car. And believe me, gentlemen, I sat on the road. I said, RK Jain, what for you are here? If you can't solve it, myself and Dr. Pandey, late Dr. Pandey, we examine it. This was a flexible pavement. Every year, there used to be water coming out, oozing out from the subgrade and spoiling the flexible pavement. And we improved it. It has come in between. This is after it. If all of you wish, I can give a full lecture on it. From last 2015, from last 9 years, it is performing okay. Now these are the tests. I wrote a paper sent into San Francisco conference. I have lifted this table from there. You can modify it according to your project. These are the essential tests. Now tell us, putting hand on your heart, how many of us see, how many of our consultants or PDs or ROs or authority engineers or the site engineers adhere to it? Not many. And this is a master table which was highly appreciated in US. I could not go. My co-author, Mr. Asutosh Gautam, who was till 4 or 5 years ago in NHI, now on deputation elsewhere. Kindly keep this table in your pocket. This is very useful. I prepared it after a lot of hard work, so many. But it has to be, modulated according to the requirement of your project. This is indicative. Thus, in any project which has failed, please take the flexible. The score test, I do not agree. Reason? Kindly go through IS 516 fourth edition. Fourth edition. I did not know, I came to know subsequently. Minister of Transport constituted R.K. Jain committee. Members were Mr. M.C. Venkatesa, who has experience of working in concrete roads in 11 countries. Then our friend Vidur Kanja, who is now for new technologies in the ministry. We stayed there for 4 days. From the dismantled portion, I got this cut to size and tested them. Because I should verify before that the concrete is okay. The concrete was found to be okay. I got them tested in a private laboratory in my presence. The chain, etc. is written there. It is very much there, sir. And it was okay. Now, wherever I go, I cut a flexural beam from the wheel path. Test it. How do we do it? Cut it with oversize. Abrade it according to correct size. 700 mm by 150 by 150. Dip it in water for 40 to 48 hours. The temperature of water being 27 plus minus 3. Take it out, rub it with dry cloth, keep it in air for 1.5 hours. Break it in your presence. That will give you the correct flexural strength. It is a direct method. If you go by indirect method, which is of course prevalent in whole of the world, you take a core, do all this water curing and other thing, bring it to SSD condition, break it. Whatever the result, multiply it by 1.25, you will get cube strength. Then 0.7 under root FCK. Instead of FCK, you put the cube strength derived as above. You will get the flexural strength. So there are two formulae used in it. Whereas the method I have devised, I will not say invented, somebody else might have done it earlier, which I have devised. It is direct measurement. Now, a historical instance, Mr. A.R. Chitransi, one of the PD, he was earlier PD Bilaspur perhaps, or elsewhere, I don't know. I got a call from him at 9:30 p.m. at night. Sir, मुझे तो ज्वाइन किए पटना में 1 हफ्ता हुआ है, मेरा सड़क फेल हो गया. It was a road in Bihar, in something. I said I had visited this road in some other connection and I have conducted the test. This is perfectly okay. You see the test. But sir, what can I do? NHI vigilance team has failed it. They took the course, took them to National Test House, Kolkata, and the strength available is M13, M71. What are you talking, Chitransi? This is strength of not even of the DLC. Sir, this is it. Okay. Whenever there is such like situation, go to the basics of engineering. What are those? I said, take this flexural beam and do this curing as I told. Go to NIT Patna or any other lab. Get it tested in your presence. 4th day I got call. Very happy gentleman. Sir, the strength is 5.16 or something. Instead of 4.95, we got more than 5. So this is a misnomer. When you investigate, please cut the flexural beam. This is what I do. This is, I remember correctly. The requirement was 4.84, and this is a direct test and an assured tool of quality control. I want to propagate it because at most of the places we are getting wrong. I will show you how and why. Why I told you. Now, in Chicago conference, we were 6 from India. I was heading that team. We were deputed by IRC. Late vacation Assam, myself and 4 more others. On the last day, 27th, they put a mic and there is anybody who will raise question. The gentleman who will reply, go to the mic and reply. How to achieve excellent quality? So I also raised my hand. They said, yes, Mr. Jain from India. I went to, and I said, look, to achieve quality, one has to become a quality person. What is a quality person? He or she must be very knowledgeable on the subject. He or she must be very dedicated also. He or she must have a Himalayan attitude and determination for implementation of the quality plan given in the contract. The quality will follow. Before I could leave the mic, 2 gentlemen from USA who had visited this project said, okay, those who have doubt, they can see Delhi Mathura Road. They could not say Mathura, Delhi Mathura Road. We have seen it. This is a mantra which I gave in Chicago conference, and I give it everywhere. The gentleman who is looking after the quality, he must be very, very strict. I tell you instance. Our specifications say the concreting when being done, the temperature of the concrete should not be more than 30 degrees. Also, the ambient temperature should not be more than 35. Mr. H.S. Mildenhall was at site somewhere. The ambient temperature was 30.5, 35.5 degrees Celsius. He got the, and it was only 0.5 more than what is it? He got the truck unloaded, not on the site. So no, nothing can be accepted. So my time is over. This is a